Say more about this want management. I mean, I think I intellectually kind of understand. I certainly understand the equation, right? Why we want the want in the denominator to go down,
Yeah.
which therefore raises the value of the fraction. But what's the practical set of tools that one? So let's just say I'm sitting here saying, Arthur, I just don't think I can be happy until I and I don't want to use myself as an example because it's and people are sick and tired of hearing about me. So let's just say I'm a normal guy, and until I get this promotion, I got to get to VP. Until I'm a VP, it's just not, But once I get there, I swear it's going to be great.
Mm.
And I just want to pay the mortgage off.
Right.
Like because right now it's a bit of a chain. And once the mortgage is paid off, like we are absolutely going to be able to take a month off every summer and go anywhere. So there's a list of all of these things that all seem pretty reasonable in terms of aspirations, in terms of, career success, et cetera, et cetera. So how would you explain to that guy, well, let's skip the first part. The first part is you're going to tell him that, by the way, when you get all those things, you're not going to feel that much different for very long. But more importantly, how would you spare him the agony of spending the next 5 years pursuing that, only to find out he'll be right where he is now?
Yeah. So I actually I have an exercise that I do with my students when they're in their late 20s. My MBA students are on average 27, 28 years old. And it's the same thing the same exercise that I do with people who are my age. I'm 58. And it basically starts like this. Imagine yourself, you're 49 or 50, I can't remember.
49.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not trying to give you an extra year, Peter. So imagine yourself in 5 years. You're 54 years old. Okay. Totally imaginable at this point. You're going to be in, really good health. You're going to be working really hard. Okay. Now imagine that you're happy. And we've talked about what that means, but you know what it means when you're happy. You know how it feels when you're happy. So you don't even have to describe that. Put in order the 5 things in your life that explain it, why you're most happy, in order, right? And think about it carefully. Don't, it's not the stuff that you wish would make you happy, the things that you might make you happy, the things that never have, but could somewhere, the things you really know, really realistically, 54 years old, that are making Peter Attia happier than he is today, in order. I guarantee you that 1, 2, and 3 are going to be about your relationships. And only the bottom of the list is going to be about human achievements. That's just the way it's going to be. And then the next thing I'm going to ask you is, what's your strategic plan for aggressively managing 1, 2, and 3, as opposed to leaving them up to chance? How much of your time are you spending on 4 and 5, and even things that are not on the list, as opposed to 1, 2, and 3? What is your strategic plan for fortifying your friendships, your marriage, your spiritual walk, the relationships with your children, your relationships with your parents, all that stuff? Those are the biggies. And that's how you think about it. You say, okay, you got the promotion. Congratulations. You've got extra money. You might say, that's a good way for me to have better relationships because I'll be able to go out of town with my family. Do you really think that month away is going to be the game changer for you to have the perfect marriage? Or should you be thinking, great, if you get the promotion, more power to you. But do you think you should be thinking more aggressively and strategically about how to improve your marriage today? How can you improve your marriage today? And probably has a lot more to do with paying attention to your wife. It probably has a lot more to do with actually trying to get interested in many of the things that she's interested in. And it's not rocket science. We actually know how to do this. But if it turns out to be that mystifying, maybe get some help. But manage the things that really will be what will bring you the greatest happiness. Don't leave those things up to chance.
I love that exercise, Arthur. My question, I guess, is what fraction of people do you think have enough, maybe awareness or introspection is the word, that they could come up with that list? Because I think you're absolutely correct. I think if you really think about this from the right spot, 1, 2, and 3 have to do with your physical and emotional health. And if your physical and emotional health are out of order, I don't think anything else really matters. Do you get the sense that when you pose this question to your students, that all of them are able to arrive at that conclusion?
Yeah, so it sort of depends on how deeply they take or how seriously they take the the question. So if you ask it in a kind of a breezy way, a pretty informal way, half the students will have these extrinsic motivations about, money, power, pleasure, and fame. And half of them will have intrinsic motivations about relationships and love. But if you ask them to think very, very deeply about it, almost all of them wind up in the intrinsic category of love and relationships. Usually the top, especially for people in their late 20s, is the romantic lives. They want to have that on point. The second is their family and friends, is the second big category. And the third is that they want to have children. Most of them really actually want to have children. They don't know when and they don't know how, but that's something that they want. And so we say, okay, well, we need to be focusing strategically on treating your romantic life the way that you would a startup. We need to have the same seriousness. You need to be putting in the time. You need to be putting in the work. And we talk about actually how to do that, what the barriers typically are. And there's a lot of science and there's a lot of good practices behind that. And they tend to, when you ask them to do the work, they will focus in on those three areas. Now, if you say, why weren't you paying attention to those things? They'll say, I don't know how to manage those things. I came to the Harvard Business School to learn how to be successful in my career. I didn't learn how to be successful in dating. So, professor, how do I do that? And then it turns out that there are ways to do that, but you have to take it seriously and put it to work.